And so kind of as we kind of wind down for the interview, I mean, like what are you kind of doing today in terms of your role at Waterloo? Like what are you seeing in terms of the industry and your role in it?
It's still about adoption, Mike, because if people don't use this technology, then there's nowhere for the talent to go. So the university is a talent pipe. It's a combination. It's a talent pipeline. Because research without people isn't doesn't happen, does it? Even though I think there are different schools of thought on what is the function of a university. Is it to do research? Is it to teach students? And I like to think it's both. So my job is working. Typically, I think I sort of have a foot in industry, in the customer camp and in the university camp, in terms of what kind of problems is industry wanting to solve? How can we help, and how can we ensure some kind of longer term benefit rather than just we figured out the answer to a really complicated specific problem that might, for example, it might benefit industry, but it doesn't have a bigger pull on the kind of ecosystem. So, I like to be involved in projects where industry is looking typically at different technologies. In Waterloo, where I am, we have probably, I don't know, we do literally have millions of dollars worth of different types of equipment, different technologies. And so it's a good way to compare how the technologies perform for industry to get more hands-on. That's something that I am trying to champion at Waterloo. It's not that common at universities for industry to be more hands-on. Sometimes it's give us your money, but we leave us be. I think Waterloo in general has a very strong entrepreneurial kind of DNA. We're in the process of moving to a new facility where all of our equipment will be under one roof. It'll be much easier for us to work with industry there. But we're not. It's a thin line. It's a thin line, as the Pretenders song would go. Between collaboration and competition. It's a thin line between love and hate, actually, isn't it? Is what she sings. But and I think I'm better at walking that collaboration line now. But and Canadians tend to be fairly collaborative in nature, and we definitely need to be, because we're a geographically big nation, but we're a small nation in terms of sort of our kind of internal market, as it were. But we should be able to be agile. And, one of the things about Additive is meant to be, hey, it's agile, it's customized. In many ways, Additive ought to be a sort of perfect fit for Canada, as a tool, if you like. But, again, it's easily said, hard to do. I'm not sure that really explains what I do. I do, I keep my hand in. I do get involved in projects. I like to mentor students. I don't teach, but I think, again, as we get older, we have different kind of skill sets. So sometimes, I think advice for students is, like, well, you probably should, be on LinkedIn, because if you want a job, then you should at least have a look around. People should know about you. And even if you want to stay in academia, you probably want to do research with industry, so you should still be on LinkedIn. But I started, coming back to the beginning, when I went to MIT and I showed them my artwork and I got in there. I think having a breadth of experience and figuring out, we often figure out what we enjoy, Mike, by, maybe sometimes figuring out what we really don't like. And you don't know it till you try it. So I love the fact that, again, you're working with people, giving them hands-on experiences. It's a little it's a little harder in Canada sometimes because we're so spread out sometimes to give access to people. But we've got a lot of equipment across the country, and one of the exciting ideas we're trying to work on is how can we move people to different facilities so that they can get different experiences of both, machines, applications, kind of cultures. It's always, as a consultant, I'm sure you find when you go to different places, everywhere has, you always learn something new. And, it's that immersion experience that you're learning. And that's that sort of lifelong learning experience that we have. So I definitely try to promote that wherever and however I can. And again, this podcast is an example. Thank you for, having the discussion, and, hopefully again, we can see some people who, might not have thought university is they may have a fairly narrow view of what a university can do. And again, I think just like maybe you might have had a narrow view of what additive manufacturing can do, you probably should revisit that assumption in 2022.